Ah, what a curious predicament it is to be human. Here we are, beings of flesh and spirit, caught in the marvel of existence, yet so many of us stumble through life as though asleep. We hunger for a sense of aliveness, chasing it in the form of possessions, achievements, or fleeting pleasures, all the while missing the simple fact that life is already coursing through our veins. Life unfolds in the present moment, a fleeting instant that is both the stage and the substance of our existence. Yet how rarely we inhabit it fully. Most people, when you truly observe them, seem to be anywhere but here. Their minds wander through corridors of time, revisiting the past or projecting into an imagined future. This habit is so ingrained that it feels almost natural, as though life itself were meant to be lived in the abstract, in a space removed from the immediacy of now. But therein lies the paradox. The present moment is the only reality, the only place where life actually happens, and yet it is the very thing we are most adept at avoiding. Consider this when you sit quietly, free from distractions. How often does your mind stay rooted in the now? It leaps like a restless animal, revisiting old wounds, rehearsing conversations that never happened, or constructing elaborate fantasies about what might be. We ruminate on mistakes, replaying them endlessly as though the past could be rewritten if only we thought about it hard enough. Or we cast our thoughts forward, worrying over plans and possibilities, imagining scenarios that may never come to pass. In both cases, we exile ourselves from the present, trading the richness of immediate experience for the thin shadows of memory and anticipation. Why do we do this? Perhaps it is because the present moment feels too ordinary, too mundane to hold our attention. The mind craves stimulation, and what could be more stimulating than the drama of the past or the uncertainty of the future? The present, by contrast, often seems still, even dull. But this perception is an illusion born of habit. The present is not dull, it is simply unfamiliar. We are so accustomed to living in a world constructed by thought that the raw reality of now feels alien, even uncomfortable. Yet the discomfort of the present is also its power. It is in the now that we encounter life in its purest form, unfiltered by the distortions of memory or expectation. The present moment holds everything: the texture of the air, the rhythm of your breath, the weight of your body pressing against the earth. These are not trivial details, they are the essence of existence. To be alive is to experience these sensations directly, without the interference of mental commentary. But how often do we allow ourselves to do this? Our inability to remain present is not just a personal failing, it is a cultural phenomenon. Modern society is built on a foundation of distraction, encouraging us to live anywhere but in the now. Technology, for all its marvels, has amplified this tendency. Our devices are designed to pull our attention in 1,000 directions, fragmenting our experience and keeping us perpetually elsewhere. Even when we are physically present, our minds are often far away, tethered to the endless stream of notifications, messages, and media that define contemporary life. This disconnection from the present has profound consequences. When we are not fully present, we are not fully alive. We move through life on autopilot, going through the motions without truly engaging with the world around us. Meals are eaten without tasting them, conversations are held without hearing them, and days slip by unnoticed, lost to the fog of distraction. In this state, life becomes a series of missed opportunities, a parade of moments that pass us by unnoticed and unappreciated. But the present moment is always there, waiting for us to return to it. And when we do, something remarkable happens. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. A simple act like sipping a cup of tea or feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin can take on a depth and richness that is often overlooked. This is not because the moment itself has changed, but because you have. By bringing your full attention to the now, you open yourself to the full spectrum of experience, discovering a world that is infinitely more vibrant and alive than the one constructed by thought. To live in the present does not mean ignoring the past or neglecting the future. Both have their place and their value. The past teaches us, and the future inspires us. But they are not where life is lived. The past is a memory, a story we tell ourselves about what was. The future is a projection, a dream of what might be. Neither is real in the way the present is real. The present is the only place where action is possible, where choices are made, where life is felt. Learning to inhabit the now is not easy, especially for those of us who have spent years or even decades living elsewhere. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to let go of the mind's endless chatter. but the rewards are immeasurable. To be present is to feel truly alive, to experience the fullness of life without the veil of distraction. And so the invitation is simple: come back to the now. Notice the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, the colors and shapes of the world you inhabit. These are not just details, they are life itself, unfolding moment by moment. When you anchor yourself in the present, you rediscover the vitality that has been there all along. You realize that life is not something that happens to you, it is something you are, something you participate in. The present moment is not a fleeting speck of time, it is the eternal now, the timeless ground of being where life happens, where you happens. The search for aliveness is a pursuit that drives much of human behavior. It is the yearning for something more, the desire to feel fully engaged, fully awake, and fully present in the miracle of existence. Yet, ironically, this very search often becomes the greatest distraction from the life we are already living. In chasing after some grand idea of what it means to feel alive, we overlook the quiet, unassuming moments where life is already happening. Consider for a moment the ways people seek aliveness. They climb mountains, dive into oceans, travel to distant lands, or engage in daring adventures. Others find themselves chasing the thrill of success, the intoxication of romance, or the fleeting highs of material acquisition. While these pursuits can certainly bring joy and excitement, they are often accompanied by an unspoken belief that aliveness exists somewhere else, somewhere beyond the present moment, somewhere outside the realm of the ordinary. But what is this aliveness we are searching for? At its core, it is not something external. It is a state of being, a feeling of connection to the present moment and to oneself. It is a sense of vibrancy, of being fully immersed in the flow of life. Yet in the quest for this feeling, many people create an artificial separation between themselves and the life they are living right now. They tell themselves that aliveness is something they will achieve in the future, once they have accomplished certain goals or reached certain milestones. In doing so, they fail to see that life is already unfolding, rich and vivid, in the here and now. This tendency to look elsewhere for aliveness often stems from the way we are conditioned to view life. Society teaches us that worth and fulfillment are tied to external achievements and extraordinary experiences. From a young age, we are bombarded with messages that encourage us to seek excitement, success, and recognition. We are told that life is about climbing ladders, crossing finish lines, and reaching for the stars. While there is nothing inherently wrong with ambition or adventure, this mindset can blind us to the beauty of the present moment. It can lead us to believe that the ordinary is insufficient, that life must be constantly amplified to be meaningful. In this way, the search for aliveness becomes a distraction. It pulls us away from the very thing we are seeking. We become so focused on the pursuit that we lose sight of what is already in front of us. We overlook the small, tender moments that make up the fabric of life: the laughter of a child, the warmth of a shared meal, the quiet comfort of a sunrise. These moments may not be dramatic or spectacular, but they are profoundly alive. They are where life is happening, in all its raw and unadorned reality. The irony of this search is that aliveness cannot be found through striving or grasping. It is not a destination to be reached or a prize to be won. It is a quality that emerges when we stop chasing and start paying attention. It is found in the stillness of simply being, in the act of fully inhabiting the present moment. When we let go of the need to seek aliveness elsewhere, we begin to see that it has been with us all along. But letting go of this search is no small task. It requires a shift in perspective, a willingness to unlearn the patterns of thought that keep us looking outward. It calls for a return to simplicity, to a way of being that values presence over performance. This shift is not about abandoning our dreams or renouncing our desires. It is about recognizing that the pursuit of aliveness does not require us to escape our current circumstances. Instead, it invites us to engage with them more deeply. To recognize the life we are already living, we must cultivate a sense of gratitude and wonder. Gratitude for the ordinary miracles that surround us every day: the breath in our lungs, the ground beneath our feet, the connections we share with others. Wonder at the sheer improbability of existence. The fact that we are here at all, conscious and alive in a vast and mysterious universe. These qualities of gratitude and wonder are not grand or extraordinary, they are quiet, humble, and accessible to anyone, at any time. Ultimately, the search for aliveness is a reminder of our deepest longing to feel connected, to feel whole, to feel alive. But this longing is not something to be satisfied through external means. It is an invitation to turn inward, to awaken to the life that is already here. When we do, we discover that aliveness is not something to be found, it is something to be felt. It is not a future goal, it is a present reality. It is not elsewhere, it is here. The life you are living right now is enough. It is filled with opportunities to feel alive if only you pause long enough to notice them. The next time you find yourself searching for aliveness, stop for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the beating of your heart. Look around at the world as it is, not as you think it should be. In that moment, you may realize that the aliveness you have been seeking has been with you all along, quietly waiting for you to wake up and see it. Feeling alive is a universal longing, a deep-seated desire to experience life in its fullest, richest form. Yet, the way we approach this feeling is often misguided. Society teaches us to equate aliveness with achievement, with the accomplishment of goals, and the attainment of milestones. We are told that to truly feel alive, we must strive, push, and conquer. But this perspective, though pervasive, often leaves us disconnected and dissatisfied. In truth, feeling alive is less about achieving and more about surrendering to the flow of existence, a way of being that requires letting go rather than grasping. At its core, life is not a problem to be solved or a puzzle to be completed. It is a dynamic, ever-changing flow, much like a river. To feel alive, then, is to immerse oneself in this flow, to move with it rather than against it. Yet this goes against the grain of how many of us live. We are conditioned to believe that life must be controlled, shaped, and directed towards specific outcomes. We create plans, set goals, and measure our success by how well we adhere to these frameworks. While there is value in having direction, this obsession with control often blinds us to the organic rhythm of life. Surrendering to the flow of existence is not about passivity or giving up on one's dreams. It is about recognizing that life is not something to be conquered, it is something to be experienced. When we focus solely on achieving, we become fixated on the future, on a version of life that does not yet exist. This fixation creates tension, as we are perpetually striving to bridge the gap between where we are and where we think we should be. In this state, we overlook the present moment, where life is actually unfolding. We miss the beauty and richness of what is, because we are so focused on what might be. To surrender is to let go of this need for control and to trust the natural unfolding of life. It is to recognize that existence is inherently intelligent, that it moves according to its own rhythm and wisdom. Just as a river flows effortlessly toward the sea, life has a way of carrying us forward if we allow it. But this requires faith in the process, in ourselves and in the inherent goodness of life itself. It also requires humility, a willingness to accept that we are not the sole architects of our destiny. There is a larger force at work, a force that we can align with when we stop resisting and start flowing. This alignment is not something that can be forced or fabricated. It arises naturally when we stop clinging to the illusion of control. Imagine floating in a river. If you struggle to swim against the current, you exhaust yourself and make little progress. But if you relax and allow the current to carry you, you move with grace and ease. Life is much the same. When we stop fighting against it, when we surrender to its flow, we find a sense of peace and aliveness that cannot be achieved through effort alone. Surrendering does not mean abandoning ambition or ceasing to care about the outcomes of our actions. It means approaching life with a sense of openness and flexibility. It means being willing to adapt, to change course when necessary, and to embrace uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable. To surrender is to accept this unpredictability and to find joy in the adventure of it. It is to recognize that the path of life is not a straight line but a winding, meandering journey full of twists and turns that we cannot foresee. In surrendering, we also come to appreciate the present moment more deeply. When we let go of the constant need to achieve, we create space to simply be. We begin to notice the small, miraculous details of life that are often overshadowed by our striving. The sound of rain on the roof, the feeling of sunlight on our skin, the laughter of a friend, these are the moments where aliveness resides. They are not grand or extraordinary, they are simple, yet profound. To surrender to the flow of existence is to open ourselves to these moments, to allow them to touch us and remind us of the beauty of being alive. Feeling alive is not something that can be attained through external means. It is an internal state, a way of relating to life that transcends achievement and accomplishment. It is found in the act of letting go, of trusting, and of being present. When we surrender, we are no longer chasing after aliveness, we are living it. We are no longer trying to force life to conform to our expectations, we are allowing it to reveal itself in its own time and in its own way. This surrender is not a one-time act, but a continuous practice. It is a way of living that requires us to repeatedly let go of our need for control and to return to the present moment. It asks us to cultivate a sense of curiosity and wonder, to approach life not as a problem to be solved, but as a mystery to be experienced. And in this mystery, we discover the true essence of aliveness not in the striving or the achieving, but in the simple, profound act of being. When we surrender to the flow of existence, we step into the fullness of life. We feel the pulse of the universe moving through us, reminding us that we are not separate from life, but an inseparable part of its grand, unfolding story. To surrender is to awaken to this truth, to let go of our illusions and to embrace the reality of being alive. It is here, in this surrender, that we find what we have been searching for all along. From the moment we take our first breath, society begins to shape our understanding of the world. One of the most pervasive lessons it teaches us is the importance of security. We are told that to live a good and meaningful life, we must strive for stability, predictability, and control. This message is reinforced in countless ways through education systems that prepare us for steady jobs, through financial advice that prioritizes savings and investments, and through cultural narratives that celebrate carefully planned lives. While the pursuit of security can provide a sense of comfort, it often comes at a cost. The more we cling to safety, the more we shield ourselves from the unpredictable currents of life, and in doing so, we distance ourselves from the raw, unfiltered experience of being alive. True aliveness does not reside in the confines of certainty, it thrives in the open, untamed space of uncertainty. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. It flows and changes like a river, constantly shifting course, carrying us to places we could never have anticipated. Yet, rather than embracing this unpredictability, many of us resist it. We build walls around our lives, crafting routines and plans designed to protect us from the unknown. But in our effort to control life, we inadvertently dull its vibrancy. Security, though comforting, can become a cage that separates us from the spontaneous and dynamic reality of existence. This is not to say that security is inherently bad. A certain level of stability is necessary for survival and well-being. We need shelter, food, and a sense of safety to function. But beyond these basic needs, our obsession with control often becomes a barrier to growth and fulfillment. When we prioritize security above all else, we limit our willingness to take risks, to step into the unknown, and to explore the vast possibilities that life offers. In doing so, we deny ourselves the opportunity to truly feel alive. The truth is, uncertainty is where life happens. It is in the moments of not knowing that we are most open, most present, and most connected to the essence of being. Think about the times in your life when you have felt most alive. Were they moments of complete certainty, when everything was planned and predictable? Or were they moments of spontaneity, when the unexpected took you by surprise and filled you with wonder or exhilaration? Whether it is falling in love, embarking on a new adventure, or facing a challenge that pushes you beyond your comfort zone, the experiences that make us feel truly alive often involve stepping into the unknown. Society, however, has a way of discouraging this. We are taught to fear uncertainty, to see it as a threat rather than an opportunity. From a young age, we are conditioned to plan for the future, to minimize risks, and to avoid the discomfort of not knowing. This conditioning creates a mindset that views uncertainty as something to be conquered or eliminated rather than embraced. But in our quest for control, we lose touch with the flow of life. We become so focused on managing outcomes that we forget how to simply be. To embrace uncertainty is to reclaim our aliveness. It is to step out of the narrow confines of our plans and expectations and to engage with life as it is, not as we think it should be. This does not mean recklessly abandoning all caution or responsibility, rather, it means cultivating a sense of openness and curiosity. It means allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to take risks, and to trust in the unfolding of life, even when we cannot see the path ahead. In embracing uncertainty, we also open ourselves to growth. It is often in the moments of greatest uncertainty that we learn the most about ourselves and the world around us. When we are faced with the unknown, we are forced to let go of our preconceived notions and to adapt, to stretch, and to evolve. This process can be uncomfortable, even frightening, but it is also deeply enriching. It is through these moments that we discover our resilience, our creativity, and our capacity to navigate the complexities of life. Moreover, uncertainty invites us to live in the present moment. When we let go of the need to control the future, we become more attuned to the here and now. We begin to notice the subtle details of life that often go unnoticed in our rush to plan and prepare. The sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the warmth of sunlight on our skin, the laughter of a friend, these are the moments where life reveals itself in all its beauty and complexity. To embrace uncertainty is to embrace these moments, to recognize that life is not something to be controlled, but something to be experienced. Ultimately, the fear of uncertainty is rooted in the illusion that we can predict and control life. But life is far too vast, too complex, and too mysterious to fit within the boundaries of our expectations. When we accept this, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to make life conform to our plans. We begin to see uncertainty not as a problem to be solved, but as a gift to be received. It is a reminder of the limitless possibilities that lie before us, of the infinite ways in which life can surprise and delight us. True aliveness lies in surrendering to this uncertainty, in allowing ourselves to be carried by the current of life rather than trying to steer it. It is in these moments of surrender that we feel most connected to the pulse of existence, to the ever-changing dance of creation and destruction, of beginnings and endings. To embrace uncertainty is to embrace life itself, in all its unpredictability, its beauty, and its wonder. It is to step out of the shadow of security and into the light of possibility, where the fullness of being alive awaits. Aliveness is often misunderstood. In a culture that prizes happiness as the ultimate goal, many equate feeling alive with being perpetually joyful, content, or at peace. The narrative is seductive. If we can achieve the right circumstances, maintain the right mindset, and eliminate discomfort, we will reach a state of unshakable happiness, and in that happiness we will feel truly alive. But this pursuit of a singular emotional state, however appealing, is not where aliveness resides. Instead, aliveness is found in the full acceptance of all emotions and experiences, in embracing the entire spectrum of what it means to be human. To be alive is not to exist solely in a bubble of happiness, but to be open to the richness and complexity of life. Joy, sorrow, anger, fear, love, frustration, awe, all these emotions are part of the human experience, and each has its place and purpose. When we limit ourselves to chasing happiness alone, we diminish our capacity to engage fully with life. We push away anything that disrupts our sense of comfort, labeling it as bad or undesirable, and in doing so, we create a fragmented existence where only certain parts of life are deemed acceptable. But life is not meant to be compartmentalized in this way. It is an ever-changing, multifaceted flow, and to feel truly alive, we must learn to move with it rather than resist it. This means embracing not just the peaks, but also the valleys, the moments of pain and struggle that shape us as much as, if not more than, the moments of joy. It means recognizing that every emotion, no matter how uncomfortable, is a messenger carrying valuable insights about ourselves and our world. Even sadness, often seen as the antithesis of happiness, has a depth and poignancy that can awaken us to the beauty of life's impermanence. The idea that aliveness is found in accepting all emotions requires a fundamental shift in how we relate to our feelings. Instead of trying to control or suppress them, we are invited to meet them with curiosity and openness. What does this anger want to tell me? What is this fear asking me to face? What does this grief reveal about what I hold dear? By asking these questions, we begin to see our emotions not as obstacles to overcome, but as guides leading us deeper into the truth of our own experience. Acceptance, however, is not the same as resignation. It does not mean passively enduring pain or pretending that everything is fine when it is not. Rather, acceptance is about acknowledging what is present without judgment or resistance. It is about creating space for all our emotions to exist, knowing that they are temporary and ever-changing. Just as the weather shifts from sunshine to rain and back again, our emotional landscape is in constant flux. To feel alive is to stand in the middle of this storm and welcome it, knowing that it too is part of the experience of being human. In accepting all emotions, we also open ourselves to the fullness of experience. Life is not just an emotional journey, it is a tapestry of sensations, relationships, challenges, and triumphs. Each moment, no matter how mundane or extraordinary, contributes to the richness of our existence. The laughter shared with a friend, the quiet solitude of a morning walk, the ache of loss, the thrill of a new adventure, all these experiences weave together to create the fabric of our lives. To seek only happiness is to focus on a single thread and miss the beauty of the entire tapestry. This acceptance requires courage, for it asks us to face parts of ourselves and our lives that we might prefer to avoid. It requires us to sit with discomfort, to lean into vulnerability, and to trust that even the most painful emotions have something to teach us. But in doing so, we discover a deeper sense of resilience and authenticity. We learn that we are not defined by any single feeling or experience, but by our capacity to embrace them all. This is the essence of aliveness, not the absence of struggle, but the willingness to engage with life fully, in all its messiness and magnificence. Ironically, it is often in our darkest moments that we feel most alive. Pain has a way of sharpening our awareness, of stripping away illusions and bringing us face to face with what truly matters. It reminds us of our capacity to endure, to grow, and to love despite it all. In the same way, joy feels more vibrant and meaningful when it is not taken for granted but recognized as a fleeting gift. When we embrace the full range of our emotions, we stop clinging to happiness as the ultimate goal and start appreciating the richness of every moment, whether it brings delight or difficulty. Aliveness, then, is not a state to be achieved, but a practice to be lived. It is the act of saying yes to life in all its forms, of opening ourselves to the beauty and the heartbreak, the certainty and the mystery. It is the willingness to be present, to feel deeply, and to engage with the world around us without trying to control or diminish it. In this way, we come to understand that true aliveness is not found in perpetual happiness, but in the courage to embrace life exactly as it is. To be alive is to inhabit the full spectrum of human experience, to feel the highs and lows with equal intensity, and to know that both are necessary for a meaningful life. It is to dance with joy and sorrow, to walk through light and shadow, and to find grace in both. When we accept this, we stop chasing an idealized version of life and begin to live it fully, just as it is. In that fullness, we find the aliveness we have been seeking all along. The art of being alive is a subtle and profound practice, often overlooked in the fast-paced, achievement-oriented world we inhabit. It is not about accumulating wealth, titles, or accolades, but about reconnecting with the essential qualities that make life rich and meaningful. To truly feel alive, one must rediscover simplicity, cultivate a sense of wonder, and awaken to the profound interconnectedness of all things. These are not grand or elusive achievements, but innate capacities that have been overshadowed by the complexity and distractions of modern life. Simplicity is the foundation of aliveness. In a world that constantly urges us to do more, have more, and be more, simplicity offers a sanctuary of clarity and ease. It is about stripping away the unnecessary, the clutter that weighs us down, and focusing on what truly matters. This does not mean renouncing all material possessions or ambitions, but reorienting ourselves to the essentials of life. Simplicity invites us to appreciate the small, everyday moments that often go unnoticed: the warmth of sunlight on our skin, the taste of a freshly brewed cup of tea, the sound of laughter shared with a loved one. These moments, though seemingly ordinary, carry a profound beauty when approached with presence and gratitude. However, rediscovering simplicity requires a deliberate shift in perspective. It asks us to let go of the incessant need for more, and to embrace the notion that enough is a state of mind, not a condition of circumstance. In simplicity, we find space not only in our external lives, but also within ourselves. This space allows us to breathe, to slow down, and to reconnect with the rhythms of life that are often drowned out by the noise of ambition and busyness. It is in this space that we can begin to feel truly alive, for life is not something we can grasp or hoard, it is something we experience moment by moment. Alongside simplicity, wonder is an essential aspect of aliveness. Wonder is the ability to see the world with fresh eyes, to marvel at the mysteries and miracles that surround us. It is a quality often associated with childhood, when everything feels new and extraordinary. Yet as we grow older, we tend to lose this sense of wonder, replacing it with routine, cynicism, or the illusion of certainty. The art of being alive calls us to reclaim wonder, to see the world not as a fixed and predictable place, but as an unfolding miracle. To live with wonder is to approach life with curiosity and openness. It is to notice the intricate patterns of a leaf, the vastness of the night sky, or the delicate dance of light and shadow. It is to ask questions not for the sake of finding definitive answers, but to deepen our appreciation for the mysteries of existence. Wonder does not require extraordinary circumstances. It can be found in the simplest of things if we are willing to look closely and let ourselves be moved. This sense of wonder also awakens us to the interconnectedness of all things. To truly feel alive is to recognize that we are not separate from the world around us, but deeply intertwined with it. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink, all are gifts of the earth, intricately linked to a web of life that sustains us. This interconnectedness is not merely a concept to be understood intellectually, it is a truth to be felt and lived. When we see ourselves as part of this larger whole, our perspective shifts. We begin to understand that our well-being is inseparable from the well-being of the planet, that our actions ripple out in ways we cannot always see. This awareness fosters a sense of humility and responsibility, reminding us that to live fully is not only to take but also to give, not only to consume but also to care. In this interconnectedness, we find a profound sense of belonging, a realization that we are not isolated individuals but threads in a vast, intricate tapestry. Rediscovering the interconnectedness of all things also transforms our relationships, both with others and with ourselves. It encourages us to see others not as strangers or competitors, but as fellow travelers on this journey of life. It deepens our capacity for empathy and compassion, allowing us to connect with others in a way that is genuine and meaningful. At the same time, it invites us to cultivate a kinder, more accepting relationship with ourselves, recognizing that we too are an integral part of this web of life. The art of being alive, then, is not about adding more to our lives, but about peeling back the layers to reveal what has always been there. It is about returning to the basics, the simplicity of being present, the wonder of seeing the world anew, and the interconnectedness that binds us to all of existence. These qualities are not distant ideals, but inherent aspects of our nature. They are the threads that weave the fabric of life, waiting to be rediscovered.